Spellslingers deserve tutors too, don't they? I think so. Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We are going to look at some non-permanent tutors. That means your sorceries and your instants. So we're going to kind of finish up a lot of the other things before we get into the creatures, which is a really big section. So yeah, this is kind of a big one, finishing up a whole kind of chapter right here. Please hit like and subscribe. The go-to. Alright, so this is Mystical Tutor. Probably heard of or seen this one before. I wish I picked one up when it was a bit cheaper, but for 1 blue, search your library for an instant or sorcery card. Reveal that card, shuffle your library, then put the card on top of it. Doesn't even go to hand. Also, the real downside, $10.48 right now. Like, nah, okay. But a tutor that doesn't even get it to hand costs over $10. Like, it is 1 mana. Okay, to be fair, it is 1 mana. But still, nah, I don't know. Number 10. Okay, bring 2 light. So this is 3 green and a blue, and it has converge. So you search a library for an a creature, an instant or sorcery card with converted mana costs less than or equal to the number of colors spent to cast this bring to light. I think that's already. This is one card where I think it's not popular for 2 reasons. First of all, it's a little bit confusing. Also, too much text. Cards that have a lot of text have lower value, even if they are really, really good. I think this is actually pretty amazing. So let's finish reading it. Okay, so you're going to find a card that has, again, converge is a weird one. The number of colors of mana you spend on this is can be the casting cost of the spell. And it can be a creature, instant, or sorcery. So very, very flexible. And what does it do with it? It exiles that card. Then you shuffle your library. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So you could cast this for 5. If you can do Wooburg, you can go get a spell that has 5 casting costs and automatically cast it for free. So you're basically not paying for the tutor. This is insanely good, but there's one big downside. Converge is counting the number of mana used to cast the spell, which means if you copy it, that is 0. You can find things that are 0 cost, like even some like instances sorceries will have 0. There's certainly creatures with 0. You could go get one of those. But yeah, you need something. If you're going to copy this, you need something with a 0 casting cost to make it actually worthwhile. But yeah, otherwise, this is actually pretty amazing. Like, you get to tutor and just automatically cast anything you want. As long the hitch is that, making that mana. A lot of decks, or even if you have mana rocks that can produce 1 mana of any color, you can fill in that gap pretty easily. So something to consider, definitely. 40 cents. Number 9. Okay, Fire Mines Foresight. Very obvious downside here as well. So 5 blue red. 7 casting costs. Rough. Anyway, search the library for an instant card with converted mana cost 3, reveal it, put it in your hand. Then repeat the process for an instant with mana cost 2 and an instant with mana cost 1. So this does cost 7, but you can go get 3 things. The potential upside is that a lot of spellslinger decks want to keep mana open so that you can cast a bunch of counters and things like that. And people expect it to be open. So holding 7 mana open gives you the option of using your counter spells and things like that. Or just go get your massive tutor right before your turn. After the player before you, the end of their combat, maybe just go like, okay, they've used most of their mana and everything. Now I'll just go get a whole bunch of my spells. And even if you can copy this, it gets insane. Like, 7 mana is a lot. It is, but if you can make a copy of this, you can turn this into something that is going to get you 6 things tutored to your hand. Like, Oh, that's not messing around. Anyway, 19 cents only. Number 8. Okay, we've got one of our split cards here. So this is invert, invent. Speaking of invert, I'm gonna switch this around a little bit. All right, and so invert. Switch the power and toughness of each of up to 2 target creatures. This is switching only that creature's power and toughness. You're not exchanging power and toughness between the creatures. That's an important thing, but it's only 1 mana. 1 mana to basically make 2 creatures into, like, not at all scary. There's probably some creatures that are going to have really, really high attack and much lower toughness. And if they attack you, you just switch it. There you go. It's a nice trick to have. It's not something that's going to come up every turn, or every game. Not every turn, every game. But anyway, what we're really looking for here is invent. Once again, high CMC. So for 4, blue, red, 6, so not quite as bad, but search your library for an instant and or sorcery card, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. So this is an instant and a sorcery. You can go get 2 things, not 3, like the last one, but also, yeah, this is much more flexible in that you can get a sorcery as well. Also not limited by, like, casting cost of the things. Just anything you want, you can go get. Very, very useful. Remember, if you want to copy this, there's a little bit of a sticky point with the split cards. If you copy it, you decide on that split which side you're casting before it goes on the stack. So if you make a copy, you have to copy the same side. So you can't, like, cast invert, copy it, and use invent. You have to use invert twice. So something to keep in mind, but could be very, very worthwhile. Again, 1 instant and 1 sorcery, you could probably set up your win con, right? 8 cents only. Number 7. Kaho, Minuo Historian. Okay, I actually did a budget deck I'm going to remember to put up there, I swear. I mostly remember, but anyway. This is a weird one. I don't want to get into the weeds too far on this, but I feel like there's 2 possible readings of how this works, and I feel like I need a whole, like, 10-minute video to go over the whole clear explanation. But anyway, 2 blue for this 2/2 human wizard. So when she enters the battlefield, search the library for up to 3 instant cards, exile them, then shuffle. It's really nice that it says up to. Alright, so we're going to cover that in just a second, but remember, up to is important. So for X, you can tap her, and you may cast cast a spell with mana value X from among cards exiled with Kaho without paying its mana cost. So you are going to pay the ability cost, but in an X. So if you've got, like, a whole bunch of different colors, you don't have to worry about the mana fixing. You can just, like, convert it all to X. So yeah, even if you're paying all colorless and it's like a Wooburg spell, no problem, right? So that is an upside. There's a very big downside though. Kaho, when Kaho comes in, you're going to exile that card, and that's pretty much attached to Kaho is how it works. So, like, if Kaho gets, like, returned to your hand, you recast it, or goes to the command zone and you recast it, you're going to permanently lose access to that card. So there's a very big downside. I feel like the way it's written, it doesn't quite say that necessarily, but that is how usually these things work. So like Garth One Eye, you can tap and make a token, tap and make a token of a whole bunch of useful things. And if you flicker him, if you put him up, put him back down, or pick him up, put him back down, I should say, he becomes a whole new Garth, basically. So he's got that list all refilled. By the same kind of logic, Kaho doesn't have access to things that a different Kaho exiled. I agree with that. And that is usually how it's played, and I think that's what was intended. But anyway, the way it's written, that's, again, very, very long. But that is how it's supposed to work. So yeah, if you only choose one instant when Kaho comes in, you can be set up, maybe give Kaho haste right away, and there you go, no problem, right? You're gonna cast Kaho, Kaho has haste, tap, and cast that spell immediately. So yeah, could be very, very good like that. And yeah, flicker. Then flicker to get a spell. So do one at a time and you're taking much less risk. Assuming you have haste, of course, or some way to grant haste. Anyway, 5 cents. Number 6. Micromancer. Okay, 3 in a blue for this human wizard. It's a 3/3 human wizard. Not great, but anyway. When this creature enters, you may search your library for an instant or sorcery card with mana value 1. Only mana value 1. Very niche, right? Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. It does go straight to your hand, so there's a nice part. Also, this is a creature, so you can just flicker it and keep getting as many things as you want to your hand. Especially if you've got like a storm deck or something, this could be the trick that like gets you to your, grape shot win con. Very quickly, you can turn this into like some just insane value. Also, things like Strict Serenade, there are 1 mana counter spells, so you could use this kind of like as a tool just to get whatever you need whenever you need it. You do have to have pretty carefully selected instant sorceries, but it's doable. 4 cents. Alright, there's this Strict Serenade I was just talking about. So there's your counter spell for, it is 1 blue. I forgot my camera was going to be in front of the casting cost. It's 1 blue, but anyway. You counter spell and give him a 2/2 bird instead. Ollie used this in our last playthrough video. Alright, and I love the art. Anyway, number 5. Waterlogged Teachings. Okay, so for 3 and blue or black, nice that it has the flexibility on the casting cost. Also, this is one of the dual face cards, right? So this side it's the tutor, the other side it's a dual land. Double face cards, I should say, not dual faced. Not dual. Anyway. So it's a land that can make blue or black. Quite useful, right? So you can play it as the land early on in the game, have your mana fixing, and then later in the game, when you've got that all taken care of, bounce that land back to your hand and cast it as its tutor side instead. Very useful little trick. Search your library for an instant or a card with flash. So this is very limited to instant or a card with flash, not sorcery, unfortunately. Although you can get pretty much anything with flash, right? Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Okay. Very, very good still. But yeah, mostly if you can get that land back to your hand, you've got a couple of bounce lands or something, you can make that make this pay off. 43 cents. Number 4. This is almost the exact same card that we just looked at. It is a little bit better. I think actually hummed and hawed on which order to put them in, because like if you want mana fixing, Waterlogged Teachings better. If you just want the like extra kind of availability, this is better. Anyway, for 3 and a blue, search the library for an instant card or a card with flash, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle. Does that sound familiar? A little bit, right? Alright, and flashback, 5 and a black. So that's why this is better, I think, because it has that flashback. Meaning, yeah, you can just do that same thing where you're keeping mana open because you got a spellslinger deck, and people are going to be like, oh, I shouldn't mess with them because they've got some kind of trick they're keeping their mana open for, leave them alone. Then you just tutor instead. Especially from your graveyard. You can keep that 6 mana open, and if you use it for counter spells or something like that, great. Or use it for this. Either way, you're happy, right? 10 cents. Number 3. Invasion of Arcavios. 3 blue. This is a battle. There's some really good tutors with battles, but battles as a concept on paper look great, and then in practice are just kind of annoying. I always compare it to communism. It's like communism, yeah, sure, on paper, 100% awesome. As soon as you add the humans, it becomes terrible. Yeah, that's the problem. Anyway, so when it enters the battlefield, search your library, graveyard, or outside the game. Outside the game kind of just means your sideboard, which you don't have in Commander. So keep in mind, if you're not playing a format where you have a sideboard, you're not going to do that. This doesn't mean like go dig around in your cards and find something you want. No. But being able to pull something out of your graveyard is actually extremely useful. So yeah. For an instant or sorcery card you own, reveal it, put in your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle. Quite good that actually. It has 7, so if it takes 7 damage in a turn, you're going to like destroy it and you get this next enchantment. Let's see that. So the enchantment is Invocation of the Founders. This is a really good one. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, you may copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So you just copy everything you cast from your hand automatically. Yeah, that's pretty good. Getting 7 damage on the battle might be a bit of a pain in the butt, but if you get it done, then, oh yeah. 44 cents only. Crazy. Number 2. Wild Research. Here you go. Here's a background art for 2 and a red. I'm spacing on his name now. Anyway, I'm sure someone's going to put it in the comments. It's an enchantment, and it says for 1 and a white, search your library for an enchantment card. Reveal that card, put it into your hand, then discard a card at random. So you might end up discarding the card you want that you just went and got. Have something that lets you like pull things back into your graveyard, and this becomes actually extremely useful. Or even if you've got like Threshold or something like that, where you want a bunch of different card types in your graveyard, or Delirium, I should say. Well, either, right? But then this becomes a huge advantage even. So in the right deck, this is a good thing. And what we really care about here is the 1 in the blue. Search your library for an instant card, reveal that card, put it into your hand, then discard a card at random. Same thing, shuffle your library. So you can go get any instant you want and just throw it into your hand. You gotta discard one. So there's a risk you just get rid of it right away, but you can also do this. There's no tapping, there's no limit like that. So it means you can just keep doing this over and over. As long as you've got mana, you can just keep pulling things out of your library and throwing it into your hand. Over and over and over. Like, oh my. If you got some kind of like infinite mana combo, this just turns into like whatever you want to have. Yeah, got it. So anyway, 68 cents only. Number 1, you might be able to guess. Whoa, she looks extra crazy. I didn't realize how crazy her stare was there. Anyway, Kasmina Enigma Sage. 1 green, blue. So Simic. Each other planeswalker you control has the abilities of Kasmina Enigma Sage. Again, she's a planeswalker that comes in with only 2. That's low, right? I would like that to be higher, but she has a +2 Scry 1. Scry 1 isn't bad, but especially if you've got a bunch of planeswalkers, they all get this, right? So you can give all your planeswalkers +2, +2, +2, and you can just keep like scrying through things. Really useful little combo, especially the fact that she gives it to all of your planeswalkers. Makes me think like I want to get a copy of this. It's all sold out in my shop in Korea, so I can't get this copy. I really want it because I know this is one of those cards where it's like, as soon as it comes out with like just the right commander for it, the right deck for it, all of a sudden this is going to explode in value, I think. Anyway, for -X, create a 0/0 green fractal token. Put a X +1/+1 counters on it. Sure. Search the library for an instant or sorcery card that shares a color with this planeswalker. Shares a color, not the same colors. Shares a color. Exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast the card without paying its mana cost. Especially remember, these are tokens, right? These are counters. They're counters, not tokens. Sorry. The loyalty counters are counters, which means proliferate. You can keep putting them down. So if you've got a deck where you've got lots of planeswalkers and lots of proliferate, you can get to that 8 pretty quickly, and then you can just start tutoring out every instant you want, instant or sorcery, and yeah, you're just going to be able to cast it as long as it shares a color with that planeswalker. It doesn't have to share a color with her. It can be any planeswalker you control, one of their colors. This is so breakable. Oh my, 98 cents. The List, okay. Bring to Light, 40 cents. Firemind's Foresight, 19 cents. Invent, 8 cents. Remember, these are instants that allow you to hold up a whole bunch of mana and look like you got something scary, and then you're just going to tutor. People see that open mana and just leave you alone. It's almost like a form of protection. Kaho Minamo Historian, 5 cents. Micromancer, 4 whole cents. Waterlogged Teachings is 43 cents. Mystical Teachings, 10 cents. Apparently they think that Mystical Teachings is not as good. I had a lot of trouble, anyway, with that one. Invasion of Arcavios, 44 cents. Can be insane. Wild Research. If you've got some kind of like way to make tons of mana, this is just like go get anything whenever you want. 68 cents. Kasmina Enigma Sage, 98 cents. In the Super Friends deck, this is just waiting for that right commander to come out, and then it's gonna be like, yeah, I gotta pick up some of these. Anyway, take it easy.